In the aftermath of a nuclear apocalypse, the world has been reduced to a vast, sun-scorched desert. What remains of civilization is barely hanging on, controlled by ruthless warlords who hoard the planet's dwindling resources. One such ruler is the tyrannical Immortan Joe, who commands a fanatical army of warboys and controls a precious water supply at the Citadel. Among the survivors is Max Rokotansky, a hardened drifter haunted by the loss of his family. But Max's solitary existence is violently interrupted when he's captured by Joe's war boys and taken to the Citadel. Designated a universal blood donor, Max is chained up and turned into a blood bag to keep one of Joe's sickest warriors, Nux, alive. Meanwhile, in the Citadel's garages, a different kind of rebellion is brewing. Imperator Furiosa, one of Joe's most trusted lieutenants, sets off in her massive war rig under the pretense of a routine mission to gather fuel from a neighboring outpost. However, she quickly veers off course, and her true intentions are revealed. She's not delivering fuel. She's smuggling Joe's prized wives to freedom. These women, chosen for breeding by Joe, are fleeing their lives of enslavement. When Joe realizes that Furiosa has betrayed him and taken his wives, his fury knows no bounds. He rallies his entire army, along with allies from the nearby gas town and the bullet farm, to pursue her across the wasteland. Nux, desperate to prove himself worthy in the eyes of his god, joins the hunt with Max still strapped to the front of his car, being drained of blood to fuel Nux's determination. As Furiosa races across the desert, her rig is attacked by a gang of scavengers known as the Buzzards. But with the help of her warboys, she fights them off. Joe's fleet, however, is relentless in their pursuit. Furiosa drives into a deadly sandstorm, losing most of her attackers except Nux, determined to sacrifice himself for Joe. Nux drives straight at Furiosa's rig, intending to take them both down in a blaze of glory. But Max manages to free himself just in time, and Nux's car is destroyed. When the storm passes, Max stumbles upon Furiosa and the group of wives, Capable, Cheeto, Toast, the Dag, and Angerat, who is heavily pregnant with Joe's child. Desperate, Max tries to steal the war rig, but quickly discovers that it's disabled by a kill switch. He reluctantly agrees to team up with Furiosa and the wives. Though trust is hard-earned in this brutal world, their uneasy alliance is cemented when they are forced to fend off Joe's forces once again. As they drive through a canyon controlled by a biker gang, Furiosa attempts to barter for safe passage. But with Joe's army closing in, the deal falls apart and a fierce battle erupts. Max and Furiosa barely escape, but in the chaos, Angerad makes a fateful move to protect Max. Her death, along with that of her unborn child, sends Joe into a murderous rage. Devastated but resolute, Furiosa reveals their destination, the Green Place, a lush, fertile land from her childhood. As night falls, the war rig gets stuck in deep mud, and Joe's forces close in, including from the bullet farmer, who is blinded in the process. With the help of Nux, who is beginning to question his loyalty to Joe, they free the rig and continue their journey. In the early morning light, the group encounters a strange sight: a naked woman standing atop a broken tower. Max is wary, suspecting a trap, but Furiosa approaches her and speaks of her past. The woman signals her tribe, the Vuvalini, who recognize Furiosa as one of their own, stolen away as a child. Furiosa learns that the Green Place is now a toxic, inhospitable swamp. Crushed by the news, the group faces a hard decision. With no home to escape to, Furiosa and the wives prepare to ride across. a barren salt flat, in the hope of finding a new future. Max, however, is haunted by visions of a child he failed to save, and he realizes that their only chance lies in returning to the Citadel. He persuades Furiosa to lead them back to the very place they fled from, and the water supply can be claimed for the people. Where Joe's forces are spread thin, the group turns back toward the Citadel, pursued once again by Joe and his war machines. A brutal final showdown ensues as they near the stronghold. Many of the Vuvalini are killed in the battle, and Furiosa herself is gravely wounded. Max fights Joe's monstrous son, Rictus Erectus, while Furiosa confronts Joe in a vicious, personal fight. With the help of Toast, Furiosa rips off Joe's breathing mask, finally killing the tyrant. Nux, fully committed to the cause of freedom, sacrifices himself by crashing the war rig and blocking the canyon, ensuring that Joe's army cannot follow. Max helps the wounded Furiosa, giving her a life-saving transfusion of his own blood. As they return to the Citadel with Joe's body, the oppressed citizens rise up, overjoyed at the sight of their fallen ruler. Furiosa, the wives, and the Vuvalini are hailed as liberators, while Max slips away, disappearing into the crowd. He shares a final, silent glance with Furiosa before vanishing once again into the wasteland.